everyone, so one of the all-time favorite sundews is probably Drosera regia. Regia is Latin for king, so even the people who discovered it knew right away that this was an amazing plant. It's winter right now, and that's why I wanted to talk about that. It's December 21st today, so we just hit solstice. It's the shortest day of the year. I'm hating it, and the Drosera regia aren't looking their best either. And I wanted to do this video because I know a lot of us are getting into the hobby really recently. There's been this big surge in new people growing carnivorous plants in the last couple of years. And probably a few of you spent like the $50 for a nice little regia plant over the spring and summer, and it grew really beautifully. And I just want to put your little hearts at ease so you can see my big beautiful regia here, and they're not looking that great either. They were looking great in the spring and summer. All these are our collection plants, and so these were older, multiple-year-old plants with like leaves this tall. And I put them in a little bit less light in the spring and summer. Cape Sundews and Alisiae, I feel like they can take a little bit more light, but regia will do in a little less light and have longer, bigger leaves that way. And so I usually grow these under the bench or in a shadier spot in the greenhouse over the spring and summer. And then the winter time, I move them up when the days are short and the light is less intense. Anyways, the plants can tell what time of year it is by the day length, just like we can. And I don't like it that much either. And like I said, either are they. So if you take a look here, you can see this is something else I want to talk about is not all plants are going to do all the same thing. They might all have the same cycle, but that's going to look different. These are all different clones of regia. So this one is staying mostly up, and it still has some really nice leaves. A couple of these here in the front. This one's got like a small little plant instead of the big plant that was here. This one's almost made like a temperate sundew hibernacula. And they'll usually stay that way, I would say, over most of the winter. Then when the days get a little bit longer and it warms up in the greenhouse, usually around late February or early March, they'll start to grow again and have big, beautiful leaves and be really happy. So don't throw them away and freak out too much just yet. I mean, winter can be a tricky time for them, so you will find sometimes they do die over the winter. And the flowering has a lot to do with it too. I can see this is an old flower stalk. And in my experience, usually when they get big enough to flower, it's that process that begins the dormancy. The flower, maybe they make a few seeds if you cross them with another plant, and then that extra energy is usually what kind of closes the year off on them. And then here's another one that's looking really rough. You can see this growth point is still just fine, but I think this growth point may actually have died. The trick that I do is I just put my finger in there and kind of feel if there's anything solid. And I can feel the top of the roots there, but I don't feel a growth point like this. So I think that one may have actually died, but I wouldn't throw that out either because they have really thick, black, fleshy roots underneath the soil, and you can propagate regia from those, and they're also really capable of coming back from that. This is a plant that I wouldn't let freeze in the wintertime. In their native habitat, they're probably get pretty close to that, maybe even some light frost at the higher altitudes where they grow, but I would definitely protect them from frost in the wintertime. Anyways, I hope that you're not too freaked out by your regia starting to look a little bit rough. Oh, and I should say, if you're growing yours under lights, completely under lights with no, natural light, you can keep these growing spring through summer and in the winter time without a dormancy. It's not something that I think they have to have. But anyways, if you're growing them out in the world like we are, I hope you feel a little bit better about yours looking rough now.